Hello, welcome back. Are you familiar with programming YouTubers who appear godlike and are capable of building any and all solutions in a matter of a few minutes? Well, I am not like that. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing. As you can see from my first submission being on the 10th of September 2023, and my first correct submission is all the way up here on the 13th of October 2023. What do we learn from this? That it takes more than a month to solve a single hard Leetcode problem? No. Fortunately, I have not been working on this for a month. In terms of priorities, Leetcode is quite low for me. Other things came up that were of more importance, so I spent more time on those. And now I'm back. In terms of how long I actually spent building a solution to the problem, I would say 15 hours, give or take 3 hours. Now that all this exposition is out of the way, let's get to the problem description and my solution, which you'll be able to see is very, very unique. So the Leetcode problem number 65 called valid number. It is of difficulty hard, topics and companies, I don't care. We have this description right here where it says a valid number can be split into these components in order. 1. A decimal number or an integer. 2, which is optional, a little e or big E, essentially an exponent followed by an integer. A decimal number can be split up into these components in the following order. 1. Optional, being a signed character, so plus or minus. One of the following formats. 1 or more digits followed by a dot, and we stop. 1 or more digits followed by a dot followed by 1 or more digits. A dot followed by 1 or more digits. And an integer can be split up into these components in order. A signed character, either plus or minus, and 1 or more digits. Then we have a few examples of what is a valid number and a few examples of what aren't valid numbers. And it's quite simple. Given a string s, return true if s is a valid number, else return false. Where we have some examples, we see that 0 is a true because it's a real number. What about e? Nope, e is false. Just a dot, also false. We have some constraints. And then we have the greatest thing in the world, and that is the discussion section of a Leetcode problem. Let's go down to it. Let's put something fun. Come on, there has to be something fun. Do I not get something fun? Okay, let's go here. Probably the worst problem I have ever worked on, by Brian Henry. The input is way too inconsistent. A leading or trailing space should be considered a decimal. Okay, fine, I'll trim it. But a space between the numbers invalidates a string. Since you can't see the inputs, you don't know what the criteria is until you submit. Then when it's false, you'll have to go back to a specific case. Actually, yes. So anyway, let's get now down to the problem. We've read the comments, and now we'll get down to the 1000 lines of code. Look at this VS Code. Look at it. This is quite small font. Never mind the core on the left. Look at this on the right. I mean, just look at this. Look at this. It's so much. From line 1 all the way to line 1018. Is this actually 1000 lines of code to build a single solution to a problem? No. These are merely different versions of the same solution. Water is great. So, because I was working on different solutions at the same time, or concurrently as we would say, I had different sections, I had different functions, that's why it's 1000 lines of code. So let's go over it. Let me just increase my font size. All too big. Alright, that's great. And here it is. The problem. Determine if string s represents a number, decimal or integer. A description. A valid number can be split up into these components in order, which is the same thing from the website, so I will not go over it. Here is my problem analysis. Step 1. Understand the problem. What is the actual problem? A string s consists of characters. Do those characters together represent a number? If so, what is a number? A number is either a decimal or an integer. An integer has two representations, and that's the same as above here. Next, devise a plan. What plan of attack will result in our victory? In this case, what plan of attack will result in a solution that satisfies the problem? Now, this is what a rational person would do, and it's actually how I intended to do it. And that is, do we need to break the problem into smaller sub-problems and create sub-solutions, merge the sub-solutions to solve a larger problem? And this is what a rational person will do. But did I actually do that even though I wrote it down? No, because I am not a rational person. I am a clown. Now, let's go over the actual solution. And we come down all the way back to the website where my actual solution is. We have a class solution, a public code area, I guess, and then we have our function. Bool is number. I constantly forget what it is when we have public and private. Access specifiers. Access specifiers, yes. So bool is number. We notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 variables. We have a string digits, which just contains the values 0 through 9. We have a string called signs, which carries the values 0 and, plus and minus. We have a string e, which just contains a lowercase e and an uppercase e. And an integer called .count equal to 0. And I'm thirsty. And here's a solution. And we'll go over these two because they're really short. If the length of our string is equal to 1 and we find a digit, well, we don't find a digit, then it's false. Why is it false? Because if we have some string, let's say this is our string of length 1, g. Is g a digit? Nope, it's false. Because the only way for something to be of length 1 and be true is if that one digit or one character is a digit. Else if the length of s is 1 and we do find the digit, we just return true as I stated above. And then we have our else case. So length is greater than 1. What do we do then? We begin processing. And as we see down here, there's just so much, but we'll go over one. We'll say for a equals 0. As long as a is less than the length of s, a++, we'll increment a. Here's the first thing we do. If a is equal to 0, and the first thing we do find is a digit and a sign and a dot, then that means first character validation end. First character is not a digit, sign, or dot. In that case, we just failed, we return false. Else if the first character we read is a dot, what do we do then? We start considering from the second digit after a. So we set b equal to a plus 1. We then say b is less than s dot length, b plus plus. We then come down here and say if b is equal to a plus 1. So the first time through the loop, essentially, we do the following. If b is equal to a plus 1 and b is equal to the length of s, then we return false because that means our string only contains a dot. We have failed. If at any point we read an e, when e is an exponent, we do the following. We do, if digits of find s at position b minus 1 is equal to string npos, so essentially we can't find anything else, we read a dot e, nothing of interest, we return false. And we continue in this fashion repeatedly. And we go down and down and down. And then as we notice, this code gets very long and very convoluted. If you read the code, which I will post a link to in the description, and you get it, that's great. And if you don't understand the solution, don't worry. At sometimes I don't even understand my own solutions. And something that's even great is that if you go to solutions and you go to Python, and let's go with this one, Python. That's JavaScript Python. That's a little look at the difference in the Python code compared to the code in my C++. But I'm sure there's a shorter solution somewhere here. Let me just go to all. Okay, here we go. Python simple solution beats 100%. Look at this. Try, accept, return 1, return 0. Hey, ain't that great? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 lines of code compared to my about 180 lines of code. Well, not even 180, probably more than 180 lines of code. As you can see, C++ is great, ain't it? Well, that was today's video, a convoluted solution to a convoluted problem. I will say this. If I understood the problem better, I would have created a far better solution. But because this problem, I don't understand it very well, it was quite hard for me to build a solution from the outset. But yep, that's it. Bye.